an original MCM production.
I am very pleased to introduce our own Rotarian, Eric Eisbister, who many of you know and have worked with on our many committees or elsewhere in our community. Eric is the CEO of GenMet and the chair of the RCM Scholarship Committee. Eric, the program is yours.
Thank you, President Nancy. I don't usually like to read, but I have a book here, and there's a lot of information, so it's after lunch. You're authorized to fall asleep if you'd like. The first thing I'd like to do is to thank the program committee for allowing me to tell our story. I think that what we've been doing on the scholarship committee is one of the most important things, selfishly, one of the most important things this club does. See if I can work this. About a decade ago, 2008, we had initial conversations began by Jim Miller. This was his idea. He and then President Jim Barry talked about the possibility of establishing a scholarship fund within our club. Discussion led to the formulation of an ad hoc committee to further cultivate the idea. I was lucky enough to be asked to be on that committee. The goal was to assist able and promising but needy graduates of Milwaukee high schools, enabling them to attend accredited college, university, or technical college so as to enter a family-supporting career. Discussion with club leaders led to the approval of the local scholarship committee, which held its first meeting in April, led by Jim Miller, and named the RCM Scholarship Program. Seed money of $10,000 for the first scholarships was provided out of pocket by the members of the ad hoc scholarship committee and supplemented by the RCM Community Trust. Applications were solicited. That was a little tough back then because nobody knew of our program yet. 3 scholarships were awarded in 2009. Our target group was identified as student residents of the city of Milwaukee who need both financial and social support to succeed in post-high school education. Ideally, these students would return to Milwaukee and contribute to the betterment of the city. In other words, help the Rotary Club make Milwaukee a better place. Typically, applicants are the first in the family to attend college, come from single-parent homes, have multiple siblings that require family attention and finances. Absent the outside support, college would not be possible for a majority of these students. From the initial group, we had our first graduate, Markeisha Parker, who's changed her name to Abigail Israel, and I'll talk a little bit more about her in a minute. The number of applications received has increased dramatically from having to kind of beat the tin cup to get them to this year we had 169, and that shows recognition in our program, desirability, and the value of it. 169 employees, from which 4 regular scholarships will be awarded, and there are 4 more named scholarships because the students we have in each of the 4 named scholarships, Smith, Adams, Ford, and Miller, are all graduating, or all have graduated. Let's see, our process has been developed and tested to be able to accept funding for named scholarships. I'm talking to you, named scholarships. We require at least $50,000, which becomes an endowment, and the scholarships are given every year forever based on the interest from that principal. We have a goal to increase the number of named scholarships. Since the inception in 2009, we've had a total of 41 scholars in our program. There are 21 scholars in the 16-17 year, and we have enjoyed seeing 14 of our scholars graduate and enter the next stage of their life. We've contributed $304,000. Program structure. What exactly is our program? And in that we invented it ourselves, we've learned and we've continuously improved into a process that exists and is reliable. We give financial assistance ranging from $1,000 to $2,500 annually. That's not a huge amount when you look at today's college costs. I know my wife and our son is a junior in college. Named scholarship amounts might vary depending on the amount and the donor wishes. They have been greater than the $2,500. The greatest value for a student member in our scholarship program is the assignment of mentors to each student. These mentors, usually 2 per student, usually Rotarians, but not necessarily Rotarians. They have education, work experience, and networking capability in the scholar's area, in the scholar's degree. The mentor's role is to form a bond. You hear me laying a little bit on about mentoring? You're supposed to be remembering that. Mentor's role is to form a bond with the scholar. In itself, that process can take up to a year, we've learned, before sufficient trust is gained between the mentor and the student. Equally, the scholar is expected to engage with their mentors on a regular basis. Mentors then serve as a resource for discussions of plans and problems, serve as a motivator, prodding the students to perform to their best ability, and often simply provide a supportive ear to supplement family or friends. We've had to tell students of past problems, things that they shouldn't do. For example, don't follow your boyfriend to a different college. Don't change your degree and hop from one to the other. Stay in the dorms. Don't go home where there may be more chaotic things. Mentors learn along with the students. An example is the process of communication. We've all learned that the telephone often doesn't work. Email can be a dinosaur. Texting rules. We're continuously looking for volunteers to mentor our students. Those in our club, you guys can be confident. You can do this. You have what it takes to help one of these students. Often stories about your youth or regular dinner table conversations that you had when you were raising your own children can help a student through a tough time and also prove that they can ask you questions. Scholars are repeatedly educated on the value of mentorship and the networking connections available through the club, which includes access to tutoring, internships, summer jobs, and job opportunities after graduation. I'd like to do one thing. I'd like anybody that has been a mentor in our program to stand up. I would like a round of applause for these people. Thank you. That's what makes this program work, and that's what separates it from other scholarship things. Essentially, the message to our scholars is we believe in you and we will support you all the way to graduation. Oh, by the way, the mentors make recommendations annually as to whether their scholar should be continued in the program. So if a scholar is not doing well enough in school or not having enough interface with the mentor may recommend discontinuing that student's funding. So where does the money come from? The first few years, as I said, the individual committee members made donations for the funds and the club held. In 2010, our club's golf committee made a recommendation to designate the proceeds from the annual golf outing to benefit the scholarship committee's efforts. This became the wind under our sails and a huge step towards making the scholarship program self-sustaining. It's truly one of this club's big things. Now we're getting exercise. I'd like anybody who's been in the golf committee, either now or in the past, to stand up. These are the people that are making this a continuing program. Thank you. So we have 21 scholars currently in the 16-17 program year. And the committee monitors their performance quarterly. A report is written from the mentor to the committee quarterly. We provide the opportunity for scholar peer-to-peer learning at least twice a year, because despite the wisdom of our mentors, sometimes students learn better from somebody closer to their own age. As we enter into the 9th year of our scholarship program, let's talk about the impact. How have we made a difference? So I have some stories from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of our students. First one, when she was going to college, she was Markeisha Parker. Now she's changed her name to Abigail Israel. I'd like to tell you about this student that I've gotten to know very well and to be extremely proud of. She was an intern at GenMet, my wife and I, small metal fabricating company, for 3 summers and a winter break. To show you a concept problem that we mentored around, when Abigail started, her attendance was poor. I mean, poor. When told of it, she asked if 5 days a week were really required. And she said, wait a minute, if my boyfriend wants to go to the beach, I can't go to the beach? This was a good person. She worked hard. She just didn't know those things. It was a conceptual problem. Mentors can help students through conceptual problems like that. In a letter she recently wrote to us, she said, quote, after a candid conversation with Eisbister, she learned and rectified her problem completely. She also said that she had lived the internship dream, which I'm very proud of. She rotated through all the work centers. She started grinding. She rotated through all the work centers at GenMet from entry level, made it into quality, and made it into engineering. Abigail had subsequent internships, one at Beyond Vision, which is represented here in the club by the president and CEO, Jim Curlin. Beyond Vision hires people who are blind or visually impaired. They have about 50 blind people working there right now. Abigail learned how work had to be prepared to support the employees of Beyond Vision. She also interned at the Neenah Foundry. After graduation, she accepted a full-time position at Actuant in the Corporate Engineering Leadership Development Program, where she's been rotated around the country for the last 3 years, and now she's going to be assigned to a permanent location. Again, in her letter, she said regarding college, these are her words, I came, I saw, I conquered. If anyone asked me what makes a good college experience, I would tell them breaking barriers, conquering your fears, overcoming tough courses, and never ever giving up, and then sharing your experiences. Transition from high school to college can be a difficult one. Destiny Thomas's story is representative of what several of our scholars faced. It may also sound vaguely familiar to a few of you that remember your own college experience. Semester 1 went pretty well. Semester 2, Destiny almost flunked out. Her roommate didn't make it, flunked out because of too much partying and skipping classes. It's hard to make an 8 a.m. class if you stay up past midnight. You can't soar with the eagles if you party with the turkeys. That semester, Destiny had more difficult courses. If she didn't understand something right away, she would simply quit. She didn't think to bear down harder on her studies or ask for help. Mary McCormick and John Beckwith, her mentors, met with Destiny for what Jackie Barber calls a tough love talk. Oh, by the way, Jackie teaches us a lot about how to mentor these students. So this was a tough love talk. It took a while to find out exactly what happened. Mary and John shared their own experiences and those of their children. Destiny left with a good understanding that school is like a full-time job. Work hard, get help if you don't understand something, and reach out to your peers through study groups if necessary. Being shy, the reaching out part for Destiny was hard. But to her credit, she completely changed her approach and got help when she needed it. She had been studying only about 1 or 2 hours a week, and she increased those hours. Working hard resulted in good grades. Approaching school like a full-time job resulted in good grades and graduation this year. Jim Ford said from the moment he met Aaliyah Rodgers, our first Smith scholar, at a Starbucks in Brown Deer, that he knew she was an exceptional individual. She told him at their first meeting of her vision for her future and the goals she had set to make that vision a reality. She comes from a family of healthcare professionals. Her mom and sister are CNAs, and another sister graduated from NYU with a degree in nursing. Aaliyah graduated this spring and plans to take a few months off between school and work to study for the national board exam. She's hoping to start work in the fall, working at Columbia St. Mary's Hospital in the medical surgical unit. This club helped make that happen. Aaliyah wants to express her appreciation to you, the club members. She recently said, quote, for not only supporting me financially, but also, and more importantly, supporting me mentally and emotionally through the two awesome mentors and friends that were paired with me. I couldn't have hoped for a better team. Most scholarships just throw money at you and hope you succeed, but Rotary threw me two great people to ensure that I succeeded. I wish more scholarships would follow suit because it's really a support system that students like me need, not just financial. Jim and fellow mentor Kathy Eilers forged close relationships with Aaliyah over her 4 years in school. Jim describes how his relationship with her has buoyed his faith in the community and its possibilities. The capacity for growth his scholar demonstrated was inspiring. Her extreme focuses, ability to set goals, reallocate her time, and realign her patterns of living to achieve them. This experience motivated Jim and his wife Judy to create an ongoing named Ford Scholarship to benefit future leaders. Thank you, Jim, for the Future Scholarship, and thank the Smith family for making this scholarship that Aaliyah participated in possible. I had high hopes for Kelsey Wilkerson when Bill Adams and he and I were paired as mentors. I think Kelsey, who is here today, drew the short stick when he got assigned to me. Being an engineer myself, I wanted desperately for Kelsey to also join the ranks. That path was not the one he followed. I've been honored to be a part of his journey as Kelsey discovered his own direction, and I'm very proud of him. He did well at Riverside High School and received a full ride in engineering scholarship from Rockwell to UW-Madison. Kelsey struggled with the engineering program. He transitioned from engineering to fashion design and has flourished. After some, to use Abigail's words, candid conversations with Eisbister, Kelsey taught me that he should change to fashion design. This club has helped in many ways. I can remember ferrying an entire carload of fabric and sewing machinery up to UW-Madison, donated by past President Jackie. Kelsey has graduated and is working on his portfolio to land a job to fulfill an internship requirement, and then it'll be all done. Good luck, Kelsey. Scholars were selected in part based on the committee's belief that they had potential to become future community leaders. Brandon Holmes, with the guidance and support of Jim Miller and Art Wasserman, has demonstrated these abilities through his activities at UW-Oshkosh and participation in the Model United Nations. Model UN draws from a diverse group of college, university students from around the world to address current global issues. The conferences are experiential learning programs that provide students with better understanding of the inner workings of the UN and a forum to hone skills in diplomacy, negotiation, critical thinking, compromise, public speaking, writing, and research. Brandon has always been very interested in the United Nations. At UW-Oshkosh, he's been active in the Model UN program. With the help of Rotary's A.D. Robinson Fund, Brandon has had the opportunity to attend several UN-focused programs in both Washington, D.C. and New York City. The United Nations Association of Greater Milwaukee honored Brandon at an annual Global Citizens Award luncheon. With multiple Rotarians in the crowd to support Brandon, he received an award on which was inscribed, "In acknowledgement of commitment and service in support of vital work of the United Nations and the cause of world peace, for your contribution to an award-winning Model UN team at UW-Oshkosh, for your example as a Rotary scholar, for your leadership and participation in United Nations Association USA, and for your efforts to build a world that represents equality and dignity of all people, we thank you." That was given to Brandon. Almost as important as student benefits are the benefits our mentors get from the experience. This program is more than well-meaning, mostly older, mostly white people telling underprivileged minorities how to be successful. With so many volunteer opportunities, the experience provides so much more than one gives. The mentors get more than they give. A few comments from our mentors on what they've gained from participation. Learning not to give up on someone. Learning the importance of consistent communication. Learning about the culture, values, and beliefs of a young woman who comes from a very different religious background from mine and how it impacts her life and future career. Learned how to better communicate through technology. Learned how to build trust in a relationship. Learned that regular things that happened in my life can significantly help a young person. In closing, as one of our club's unstated, truly big things, we can all be proud. I want you to be proud of the differences we're making. To date, the club has awarded over $300,000 in scholarships to 41 students. We've seen 14 graduates from their respective schools. Admittedly, we're not successful with every scholar we take on. However, if we lose one, it's not for lack of effort. We honor committee member Bill Coleman's admonition. We don't give up on our kids. Lastly, the RCM Scholarship Program has indeed become a big thing for our club, and there's an opportunity for membership engagement through a few things. Easily, financial contribution, becoming a mentor, committee participation, supply greater than $50,000 and create a lasting scholarship in your own name, and attend a golf outing. It's coming up June 19th. I encourage you to attend and either golf or eat or drink or bid or everything as you prefer. I want you to be proud of what our club is doing. The scholarship process is developed, it's been tested, and will continue in the future to make a difference in Milwaukee. Thank you. So if anybody has any questions, I'm here, and I have my peanut gallery right here if I can't get the answer right. Yes, ma'am.
Eric, thank you for all the work that you're doing on the committee. I'm wondering, how much time does it take to be a mentor?
It's what you want to put into it. If you're, ideally, your student is communicating with you by email or text or something, and it becomes a regular thing. It actually becomes a part of your family. First thing that I did, my wife and I are sailors, the first thing we did with Kelsey was say, hey, come on sailing. We took him 5 miles out in the lake and gave him the helm of the boat. So it's what you do. Oh, by the way, he did very well at the helm of the boat. Yes, sir.
Eric, do you know roughly how much student debt they end up with at the end of their when you graduate?
I'm not sure. The question was how much student debt do they end with? And I'm not sure. It varies on a case basis. There's been quite a few people. However, there's often quite a bit of other scholarship money that helps. There are a few that are taking loans. I think the answer to your question is it varies.
Just to add, I think we've had as little as nothing and as much as $30,000.
Jackie's helping that there's been as little as nothing in debt in the end and up to $30,000 of debt.
We try to discourage students from taking more loans than they really need. When you're in college, it would be very easy for you to take out a student loan. So our student that had $30,000, I know her mentor, Mary McCormick, and Bill Coleman, coached her on not taking out as many loans. She decided to do otherwise. So fortunately, she is gainfully employed and able to pay those loans back.
In summary, what Jackie just said is that we encourage students not to overload themselves with too much loans. I know from experience when Jackie encourages somebody, it usually happens. Yes, sir.
A lot of scholarship programs don't work because they just mail in the money. What makes this one stand out is the support that you give to the students. Do you know how much this changes the results for this program versus many? There's a lot of corporate scholarship programs out there that don't work.
So his question was, how much does the mentoring change the results? At our last meeting, we did discuss the percentages of our students that have graduated against a benchmark of students through college. Unfortunately, I forget that. However, we are significantly better than the regular world. The fact that we're giving mentorship to these students who have often come from challenging backgrounds that don't support college. Occasionally, parents are saying, what are you doing this college thing for? Come home, help with your brother's children. You know? And so there are challenges there, and our percentages are very good. We don't give up easy. Sometimes it takes a few extra years of effort. Yes, sir.
You mentioned the mentor plays a role in deciding whether they will continue to qualify for a scholarship. How many people have not been given the opportunity for continued support?
Yeah, there have been some. I unfortunately don't remember the exact number. However, I was a part of one. The first mentor that I got assigned to just wouldn't communicate with me no matter what I tried to do. I even rolled out the big guns and had past President Jackie try and contact him. So this young individual wouldn't take the mentoring, and therefore I recommended and we approved to eliminate him from our program. Yes, sir.
How do you generate the candidates?
It's interesting. When we first started, it was almost like Ryan asked, how do you generate the candidates? We were a little concerned in the beginning because we were an entity that nobody knew about, and getting applications was tough. Then we started getting applications from organizations like Running Rebels and things like that. Now we have gotten a lot from College Possible, and this year we had 169 applications. Oh, by the way, a little bit about our process. The students submit the applications. There's an essay. There's recommendations from teachers, and Mr. Miller sits down with each one of them, and concisely puts them down to usually 1 8.5 by 11 of handwritten notes. From that, the committee cuts it down to some number, about a dozen to interview. This year it'll be more because we have a total of 8 scholarships to give out. From that. Past President Jackie sets up interviews. We've learned that the place to do the interviews is in the high school because it makes it work better. We interview and pick the students that are best for our program. We want to pick students that we are confident are going to succeed. We don't take the ones with straight A's or A's and B's. In many cases, those students will be able to get money from other places. We want to take the students that possibly have more need. And if they're not going to play nice with the mentor, then we probably won't bring them aboard. Yes, sir.
To what extent does a Rotary scholarship affect other financial aid?
The question was, to what effect does a Rotary scholarship affect other financial aid? We, that old story where the volunteers step forward and everybody steps backward, leaving one person out. Well, we try to be last so that it won't limit other things. We've also learned a little bit that students don't often receive money for books. Books can be very expensive, to the tune of about $500. We learned in the very beginning years of our program that maybe a student wouldn't have the $500 to buy the books and wouldn't think they needed the books, and they'd just be going to the class without it. When we found that out, we changed our process to now we give about $500 to the student for the purpose of buying books, and the rest goes to the school. I'm not sure I answered your question, but I danced around a lot. Yes, sir.
How do you determine how much you give to each student, and is there talk of giving more aid and maybe taking on less students?
So that's a good question. The question was, how do we determine how much to give a student? And basically, we've had trial and error and continuous improvement. In the beginning, we gave out quite a bit of money and limited the amount of students. For that first year, we had 3 students and $10,000. After that, we in our cycle went the other way, and we just gave a $1,000 to people. And our thought has been for about the last few years that $2,500 is a nice number. We were just getting used to the wind behind our sails, the golf outing giving us money, and we chose to stick pretty much with $10,000, 4 scholarships, $2,500 each, and that seems to have worked. The feeling is we got enough cred because of the $2,500 that they'll continue to talk to us. but yet we can still have four students. In our cycles, we've at one time spent more money than we deserved to spend. Well, Mr. Coleman slapped us back in line, and now we're very good. Yes, ma'am.
So you mentioned how Jackie, who's amazing, provided sewing machine and fabric for this wonderful young man who's here. What other sorts of other leveraged resources came along with the mentoring and the relationships?
Interesting. So the question was, what other resources can be given to the mentors? The example that I used was sewing supplies for a person going into to fabric design, to clothing design. Other things have been connections to summer jobs, internships. Those are big. Also, interviewing and practice like that. I'm stumbling. What other things have we done?
Computers, poorly donated computers,
Computers have been donated. Also, if we get an inkling that a student is having problems, sometimes a mentor will talk to the school and square things away.
Or introducing someone that's in the field that kids are going into to learn more about it.
Introducing the student to somebody, and possibly a Rotarian or not a Rotarian, but introducing them to a person in their field. Maybe job shadowing can be set up, or some kind of testing out this direction that the student is going in.
We think we're contributing to the building of Milwaukee because these are people who have grown up here, and we're hoping that we'll bring them back.
I hope you could hear that, because he said it better than I, and he's been saying it since we started, since this was his idea. That was Jim Miller. He said, we think we are contributing to the improvement of Milwaukee by doing this. By the way, a student impresses on us during the interview program that they're going to fly out of here, they probably don't get as many points on their interview. We want students to be from Milwaukee and want to go study and come back and help us make Milwaukee a better place. Yes, sir.
You referenced come back. How far can a student go to school? Where?
We've had Georgetown. We're not too fussy about the school. Most are going to UW schools, but Georgetown, I think, was the furthest away. Yes, sir.
Is it possible for students that are your scholarship recipients to work while they're in school, and if so, do you advise them to do that?
The question was, is it possible for the students to work? The answer is yes, and we do advise when students work too much. We try and tell them that their real goal for the next 4 or a little bit more years is to study and learn and get good grades. And we've had some problems here where students work too much because they need just the right pair of blue jeans. Or a real sin could be, I need a car, and then you have to have a car to get to your job so you can have a job to pay for the car. And all of that is detracting from learning. So we have gotten right in their face about the issues with working too much. Some need to work. Some need to have the money. Yes, ma'am.
This is a great opportunity for kids that have been accepted to college. I assume you are awarding after that point. Do you have any plans of helping the kids who don't know how to apply for colleges and are really ambitious, and they're the ones that need the help as well?
So the statement was made that we're working with students that have been accepted. The question was, have we had any thought to working with students that don't know how to apply and haven't yet applied? No, we haven't done that, but we sure open up another branch of our committee if there was a volunteer. It sounds like a wonderful idea. Yes, sir.
If any person in Rotary would like to become or to find out more about the mentoring process, they can be encouraged to talk with people who are mentors at the present time.
So Dr. Wasserman was telling us that if somebody wanted to be a mentor or to just inquire into it to find out about it, the best thing to do is talk to a current mentor. talk to myself. We can get you connected with the current mentors, and you sit with them at a Tuesday lunch and find out what it's been like. There are a lot of other mentoring experienced people, if that makes sense, in this club from other mentoring arrangements. There's a wealth of knowledge here. I see the boss is standing up. Give me the hook. Thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you, Eric. I think you would all agree that this is really important work, and for all of you that are so engaged with this, time, talent, treasure, it really is amazing that it has come from 2008 to where it is to now, the number of students, the number of dollars. As Eric said, the golf outing is next week. It put the wind behind the sails. Get yourself out there. This is doing really good things. Great opportunities for us to really get out in the community and serve in ways that really is in some ways second nature to so many of us. So thank you, particularly to those of you who spend so much time and give so much effort to this important program.
An MCM production.